Good afternoon, my name is Jordan Richards and I'm a senior at Lenore-Ryan University. Today I'll be completing my Humanities 388 paper presentation. No, I will not be completing my core curriculum general LRU curriculum capstone in this class. It will just be a paper presentation. Webster's Dictionary defines courage as mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. I have chosen to research Malala Yousafzai for this project, A Profile in Courage. At just 22 years old, Malala Yousafzai has demonstrated exemplary courage fighting for the rights of young women in Pakistan and around the world. She was born in Mangora, Pakistan on July 12, 1997. In this time and culture, daughters were not typically appreciated or celebrated as sons were seen more valuable. However, Malala's mother and father were determined to give her the best life possible, fulfilled with equal opportunities as a male child would in their country. Malala's father was a teacher at a girls' school in their village, Swat Valley. It was because of his role and encouragement that pushed Malala to grow in admiration with school and learning. In 2008, the Taliban gained control over their land and Pakistani women were no longer allowed to go to school. And other basic rights were also taken from them as well. This is what pushed Malala to speak out for the equal rights of Pakistani women. Due to her age, culture, and lack of experience with activism, Malala Yousafzai is the best representation of the word courage. Malala Yousafzai exemplifies courage in her continuous activism for women's rights at just 22 years old. In 2008, when Malala was 11 years old, is when the Taliban gained control over her country and her rights were taken away. 4 years later, at the age of 15, Malala began to speak out against the educational rights for Pakistani women. This upset the Taliban and its followers, and she easily became a target for them. In October of the same year, she was shot in the side of the head while on a school bus. After the incident, she was transferred to Birmingham, England, where she underwent many surgeries, therapy, and rehabilitation after the attack. However, this did not stop Malala from her fight in the rights of women. It made her determination grow stronger. After her countless surgeries and rehabilitation, Malala continued to fight for the rights of women in Pakistan while she lived in the United Kingdom with her family. It was at this time that she stated, when faced with this decision, I could live a quiet life or I could make the most of this new life I had been given. This statement shows great courage because she could have easily reverted back and became scared and tried to remain safe from the Taliban. However, she decided to use her second chance at life, which had been attempted to be taken away from the Taliban, to fight for the rights of the women. In 2014, she was granted the Nobel Peace Prize for her work through the Malala Fund, which she set up to help further the rights of women. This made her the youngest winner at just 17 years old. This accomplishment is fantastic for anyone. However, the fact that she was so young and had such little experience accelerated that honor. In 2018, she began to study philosophy, politics, and economics at the University of Oxford in hopes to gain knowledge that could further advance her fight for women's rights around the world. Since 2014, she has ran the Malala Fund alongside her father. This foundation was created to help girls obtain education, rights, and also autonomy for their futures, which helped her to get her Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. She has also worked with this foundation to travel around and help girls, not just in Pakistan, fight against poverty, those experiencing war, child marriages, and other gender discriminations. This shows that she not only chose to fight against one matter, education, but others as well. Her contributions to these matters this far in her life is what makes her the example of courage, as stated by Merriam-Webster. Another example of how she exemplifies courage is through her words. In her time as an activist, she has spoken numerously on the rights of women regarding education, poverty, child marriage, and gender discrimination. She speaks on the importance of courage, saying, "We call upon our sisters around the world to be brave, to embrace the strength within themselves and realize their full potential." This quote represents Malala's courage as she emphasizes the importance of bravery and strength to fulfill one's potential. Here, she states that courage isn't about just sitting back and letting others do the work. It is about fulfilling your own potential by also calling upon others, showing that courage is also a group effort. Malala also discusses strength in courage by stating, "I am stronger than fear." She demonstrates that courage is not the absence of fear, but recognizing it and being stronger than it. And this is the exact definition of courage. Her courage is evident not only in her initial fight for equality, but specifically when she continued to fight after being attacked by the Taliban. Most people would not choose to fight against the people that had such great strength or had such dictator-like tactics. However, she did choose to do that, and not only was she a woman, but she was also young, which showed her courage. This made her a living example of the statement of being stronger than fear, as she had much to fear through this time. Her courage is accelerated by the fact that she is a woman herself, fighting for the rights of others when she did not have them. A quote from Malala on being a female fighting against these rights states, "Even if I'm a girl, even if people think I can't do it, I should not lose hope." This brings another aspect to the word courage, which is hope. This quote also highlights how in courage and in ourselves we find hope. When we work hard to fight for what is right, there is hope that our goal will get accomplished. Hope acts as the driving force for courage because it pushes for us to face our fears despite what the consequences may be. In this reason, Malala Yousafzai is the example of courage and hope for women everywhere. Also tying fear, strength, and courage together, Malala Yousafzai has spoken more on in depth about courage and fear. She has stated, "We were scared, but our fear was not as strong as our courage." Here, the word "we" stands out the most to me. In the statement, she is not referencing herself. She's referencing a group of people. And to me, I think that is also being courageous because she's also giving credit to other people. And it shows that courage is a group effort. That it is possible to be courageous on your own. However, the effects are multiplied when more people come together to achieve that same goal. I believe that Malala Yousafzai was trying to emphasize that working together is crucial in order to get the job done. She lives by this through her organization, the Malala Fund. Even though it's named after herself, she works alongside her father and many other organizations to help young women around the world. Many could say that Malala Yousafzai is not an example of courage because her works in activism have not been done alone. This is untrue because Merriam-Webster does not define courage as a single act. It does not change regarding the singularity of actions of one person or a group. Courage is about embracing fear, enlisting hope, and moving forward regardless of the consequences. Another counter-argument to how Malala Yousafzai does not exemplify courage is due to her lack of age and experience. This comes from her Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. Some could argue how a child could be more courageous than an adult, and they have not been able to experience the world yet and be faced with its challenges. This is refuted by simply asking how many people are stripped of their basic human rights at just 11 years old and then shot by a Taliban government a year later. Then, despite facing a life-threatening attack, resumed to fighting against the people that shot her themselves. This argument comes more from an emotional frustration than actual facts. Because of her age and lack of activism, Malala has shown more courage than her elder counterparts. These counterpoints do not discredit Malala's courage, but in fact intensify it. Malala Yousafzai's age and lack of experience are challenges that she has had to continuously overcome in her fight for women. She will always be older than those that are fighting with her, or she will always be younger than those that have fought with her. She started at a young age, and you can't take that back. By working with others, she has been able to accomplish more than she could have on her own. She understands that a bigger difference can be made when more people work together, as seen in her quote talking about "we." She proves this when she says, "If one man can destroy everything, why can't one girl change it?" This also refers back to her statement on how women are very powerful. One person can change anything, they can start it. However, those goals and those accomplishments happen easier and they're quicker and they're more so when you work together to be courageous. Throughout this paper, courage has been referenced and defined more than once. It is not the absence of fear, but is the recognition and acceptance of it and the ability to persevere against those challenges that you may face. Malala Yousafzai is the prime example of what it means to be courageous. When her right to education and the thing that she loved most was taken away from her and the people in her country, she knew she had to fight against it. Then she was shot in the head by Taliban gunmen because she chose to fight, which many thought would be the end of her activism. Despite the assault against her, she continued to fight for the many rights of women. With the development of the Malala Fund, she has brought education to many girls that have gone without it. Her courageous acts and contribution to these matters were recognized in 2014 when she was granted the Nobel Peace Prize at just 17 years old. However, she did not stop her work here. Later, she went to study philosophy and politics in order to learn more about how to help others. In conclusion, due to her age, culture, and lack of experience with activism, Malala Yousafzai is the best representation of the word courage.